everybody, and welcome back to That's Football Podcast. If you are brand new here, first of all, massive welcome to you. Make sure you hit that subscribe button right now because we are just getting started. And trust me, you do not want to miss what's coming on this channel. For those of you who have already been with us from the very beginning, you absolute legends, thank you so much. Our first episode where we broke down the state of modern football and discussed the biggest World Cup contenders absolutely blew up. The response was unreal, the comments were flying, and it told me one thing. You lot are absolutely passionate about football and you want proper, honest, no-nonsense discussion. That is exactly what this channel, That's Football Podcast, is all about. No fluff, no agenda, just real football talk. Now today is something very special because I have brought in a man who is never, and I mean never, short of an opinion. A man who won the Premier League, won the Champions League, represented England at the highest level, and has spent years on our screens telling us all exactly what he thinks, whether we like it or not. Ladies and gentlemen, former Manchester United and England right back, Sky Sports pundit, and one of the most recognisable voices in football, Gary Neville is here. Gary, welcome to That's Football Podcast.
Mark, thanks for having me, mate. I have to say, you're wrong about everything. Bold title choice. I've seen the title of this episode, and I tell you what, I don't think I'm wrong about everything. I think I'm right about most things, actually. So whoever came up with that title has got another thing coming.
Ha! Well, that's exactly the energy we need. Right, Gary, let's get straight into it because the 2026 World Cup is approaching fast. Fans are already debating, already arguing, already picking their winners. So I'm going to ask you the big one straight away. No warm-up, no easing in. Who wins the 2026 World Cup?
Right, straight in. I like that. No messing about. Look, if I have to give you one name right now, I'm going to say England. And before you start laughing or rolling your eyes, let me explain why. Because this isn't blind patriotism. This isn't me waving a flag and hoping for the best. This is a genuine football assessment. When I look at the current England squad, I see a generation of players who are operating at the absolute peak of club football. These lads are playing in Champions League finals, winning Premier League titles, competing in the biggest matches in Europe week in, week out. That experience is invaluable. The biggest problem England have had historically is that when they got to major tournaments, the players weren't ready mentally for that level of pressure. But this group is different. They've been hardened by years of elite club football. They understand what it takes to win. The other thing I'd say is that the manager's role is absolutely critical. The right tactical setup, the right team spirit, the right game management in knockout football, those things can be the difference between going home in the quarters and lifting the trophy. England have the players. The question is always whether everything clicks at the right time. I genuinely believe 2026 is the best opportunity England have had in decades, and I'm backing them.
Okay, so you're going England. Now, in our first episode, Jamie Carragher came on and he picked France. He said France have the deepest squad, the best balance of experience and youth, and they're consistently at the highest level. How do you respond to that? Is Jamie wrong?
Jamie is a great pundit. He's a good analyst, and on most days, I'd say he talks a lot of sense. But on this one, yeah, I think he's slightly off. France are absolutely a brilliant team, no question. When you look at their squad, the depth is frightening. Top to bottom, they've got elite players. Their defensive options, their midfield quality, their attacking firepower, it's all world class. And you're right that they've been consistently deep in tournaments. That matters. But here's my issue with France. Tournament football is not just about having the best squad on paper. It's about belief. It's about momentum. It's about teams that carry an identity and a hunger into every single game. And sometimes the most talented squad doesn't win it. We've seen that time and again. The best team doesn't always win the World Cup. The team that peaks at the right moment, that handles pressure better than everyone else, that stays injury-free at the crucial time, that's the team that wins it. France have had moments where, despite all that talent, they've looked fragile under pressure. And I think England, at their best, can absolutely match them and beat them on the big occasion. So yes, with the greatest respect to Jamie, I think England are right up there.
Let's talk about Argentina then, because you can't have a World Cup conversation without bringing up the defending champions. They've shown they can do it at the very highest level. Are Argentina your biggest threat?
Argentina are always a threat. Always. What I admire about Argentina is that they have an identity. They know who they are as a football team. They're aggressive, they're passionate, they're incredibly hard to break down, and they've got individuals who can produce moments of magic that change games completely. Defending a World Cup is one of the most difficult things in football. The whole world is studying you. Other nations know exactly how you play. They've watched every match, analysed every pattern, prepared specifically for your strengths and weaknesses. Maintaining that level of performance and belief when you're the hunted rather than the hunter is a massive psychological challenge. I think Argentina will go deep. I think they'll cause problems for anyone they face. But repeating as World Cup champions is extraordinarily difficult, and I wonder whether the freshness and hunger that drove them to the title last time can be fully replicated. Teams around them have also developed. The gap has narrowed. Argentina are definitely in my top group of contenders, but personally I think they face a harder path to the final than people are currently giving them credit for.
What about Spain? Because they've looked absolutely electric recently. Young players coming through, exciting football, a real identity in the way they play. Could Spain actually win it in 2026?
Spain are one of the most exciting stories in international football right now, and I say that having watched their recent performances very closely. What Spain have done brilliantly is blend the traditional qualities that made them so dominant in the past, the technical excellence, the possession-based approach, the positional intelligence, with a new generation of players who are more direct, more explosive, and more unpredictable. That combination is dangerous. The young players coming through in Spain are exceptional. And here's the thing about young players in a World Cup environment. When they're good enough and they've got belief, they're fearless. They don't carry the weight of past disappointments. They don't overthink. They just play. If Spain get their key players fit, stay organised at the back, and find consistency in the knockout rounds, they are absolutely capable of winning this tournament. I'd put them just below my top pick in terms of overall probability, but they're definitely a team that could surprise a lot of people who are overlooking them.
Gary, I want to get your thoughts on Brazil. 5-time world champions, arguably the most famous football nation on earth, but it's been a very long time since they won it. Every tournament there's talk about Brazil being back. Is 2026 finally their year?
Brazil. What a question. You know, there's something about Brazil that means you can never fully write them off. It's not just about the players, it's not just about the tactics, it's about the identity of Brazilian football. When Brazil are at their best, they play with a joy and a freedom that very few international teams can match. There's a natural attacking instinct embedded in Brazilian football culture that is genuinely unique. The challenge Brazil have faced in recent years is marrying that attacking flair with the defensive solidity and tactical discipline that modern international football demands. The very best teams in 2026 will have both. They'll press relentlessly, they'll be organised without the ball, and they'll be creative and direct with it. Brazil have the attacking talent, that's not in doubt. The question is whether they can be reliable enough defensively and structured enough tactically to go the full distance in a World Cup against the very best opposition. I think Brazil will be dangerous in 2026. I think they'll be exciting to watch. But I also think they'll face moments in knockout football where their defensive organisation gets tested severely. How they respond to those moments will determine how far they go. I wouldn't back them above England, France, or Argentina right now, but they're absolutely a team capable of reaching a final.
Let's talk Germany. Historically, one of the most successful nations in world football, but recent tournaments haven't been what German fans would expect. Are they a genuine threat in 2026, or are those days behind them?
You know, with Germany, there's a rule I've always followed: never count them out. I know the recent tournaments have been disappointing by their own historic standards, and that has definitely raised questions about where German football is heading and whether they can rediscover the consistency and the ruthlessness that made them so dominant for so long. But here's what Germany do better than almost any other football nation. They develop, they assess, they rebuild. Their entire footballing infrastructure, from youth academies to the Bundesliga to the national setup, is designed to produce technically excellent, tactically intelligent players. That doesn't happen by accident. It's the product of decades of investment and planning. The Germany I expect to see at the 2026 World Cup will be a team that has worked extremely hard on its identity, on its cohesion, and on the mentality that has historically defined them. They will be organised, they will be disciplined, and in knockout football specifically, they have that incredible ability to stay calm when others panic. That is an underrated quality in World Cup football. I think Germany will be much better than people are currently predicting. They're a dark horse with quality, and I wouldn't want to face them in a knockout game.
Okay, Gary, let's say we get to the semi-finals. Which 4 teams are you expecting to be there?
Right, semi-finals. 4 teams left in the whole tournament. I'm going England. That's my pick to win it, so they have to be there. France. Despite what I said about England being above them, France's quality is undeniable, and I'd be genuinely shocked if they didn't make it to the Final 4. Argentina. They're defending champions, they have the mentality and the experience for knockout football, and I think they'll navigate the knockout rounds very well. And then the 4th spot is where it gets interesting. I'd probably say Spain. They're young players, their style of play, their growing confidence. I think they have enough to reach the semis and beyond. Now, obviously, football never follows predictions. Every World Cup produces at least one massive surprise. A Morocco-style run, a team nobody expected breaking through. That's what makes the tournament special. But those 4 would be my expectation.
You mentioned mentality a few times. You played in some enormous matches for Manchester United and England. What from personal experience do you know about what separates teams that win trophies from teams that don't?
This is something I feel very strongly about because I've lived it. When you're in a dressing room before a major knockout game, the talent in both teams is often very similar. At that level, at a World Cup semi-final or final, everyone is elite. Everyone can play. The technical gap between the best teams is genuinely tiny. What isn't tiny is the mental gap. I've seen players who are absolutely world-class technically go completely to pieces in the biggest moments. The pressure, the stakes, the magnitude of what's happening around them, it overwhelms them. And I've seen players who maybe aren't the most gifted technically, but who are absolutely iron mentally. They love those moments. They want the ball. They want to be the one who makes the decision. World Cups are decided by one moment. A penalty missed. A goalkeeper making an impossible save. A defender making a crucial tackle with the score at 1 each. Those moments require ice-cold mentality. The teams that win tournaments have leaders. Real leaders. Players who step forward when everyone else is nervous. Players who set the tone in training, in the dressing room, on the pitch. That leadership creates a belief that spreads through the entire squad. England have had those leaders in recent squads, and I believe in 2026 that group can produce the moments that matter when it counts.
Gary, last question. The final. Who's playing and who wins?
All right, the final. I'm going England versus France. 2 extraordinary squads, 2 nations with massive football histories, 2 teams with the quality and the mentality to get through 7 matches of World Cup football. And the winner? England. Look, I know how that sounds. I know people will say I'm biased. I know they'll say I'm dreaming. And maybe I am slightly biased. I'd be lying if I said I wasn't. But strip away all of that and look purely at the football. England have one of the best generations of players they've produced in decades. They're playing for clubs competing at the very highest level in Europe, and 2026 gives them the best opportunity in a very long time. Will it definitely happen? No. Football doesn't work like that. Injuries will happen. Upsets will happen. A goalkeeper might have the game of his life and send England home on penalties. That's football. That's why we love it. But if you're asking me to put my neck on the line and give you a final prediction, England win the 2026 World Cup. And I genuinely believe that.
Gary Neville, ladies and gentlemen. England to win the 2026 World Cup. A final against France, and absolutely no doubt in his mind. Now I want to hear from you. Do you agree with Gary? Is England your pick? Or are you backing France, Argentina, Spain, Brazil, or maybe a complete surprise? Let us know in the comments right now. Drop your World Cup winner prediction and let's get a debate going. If you enjoyed today's episode, please subscribe to That's Football podcast if you haven't already. Leave a like on this video, share it with every football fan you know, and come back for more because we have got massive episodes lined up. Gary, thank you so much for joining us. Brilliant stuff.
Cheers, Mark. Always good to have these conversations. Come on, England.
And we will see all of you in the next episode of That's Football podcast. Take care, everyone.